Yeah, there's been a lot of talk lately about new exchanges and in particular BiTrue. Now, I'm bringing up BiTrue because I believe that there's still some ongoing questions that remain open, that need some answers that have been raised by the community, and I really want to try to address a lot of these questions here today. Hey, this is Jeff. You guys know me, the Huddle Review. Join me on today's video as we ask some very important questions of BiTrue right here, right now on the chain. All right. So hopefully you enjoyed that nice intro. Now, I do want to point out that first and foremost, I have tremendous respect for anyone that's taken the initiative to create technology, to develop on blockchain, to develop the digital asset space, entrepreneurship. Now, you have to point out and give huge kudos to the team over at BiTrue for taking that giant leap to developing something, to building something that they're rolling out on a global scale. Now, with this giant leap into working with digital asset, working with finances, comes immense responsibility. Now, they're not just creating software, as we know, they're running a financial exchange, a platform to manage and really hold other people's money, whether that's in fiat or if it's in digital asset, it belongs to other people. It's other people's money. With this responsibility, in my opinion, and I believe in the opinion of pretty much everybody else, as well as the financial world, you need transparency. And it's really at this point and to this point that I want to talk. Now, my primary goal with this video today is really to reach out to the BiTrue team, who I can only assume have immense passion for what they're doing, that they also have great respect for the community. And by community, I'm highlighting specifically the XRP community out there. And I'm emphasizing the XRP community mainly because BiTrue has been working with the XRP community. They're really the one and only exchange that I know of that have really put themselves out there, that have attended events, and that have been ongoingly meeting with members from the community and getting actively involved with outreach. Now, as part of that, they also are working with a group of YouTube influencers from the community and have branded them ambassadors for the BiTrue platform. I'm not an ambassador. Now, I believe that BiTrue values the community. Like I said, they put themselves really directly in the limelight, with these meetings. Now, and again, with this action comes huge responsibility to make sure that BiTrue is respecting and protecting the interests of their ambassadors, from a legal framework, from a financial framework, as well as and as much as the need to protect the financial interests of BiTrue platform users. Now, I can only assume that BiTrue has the desire to continuously improve their platform, to strive to always do the best, to be the best at what they're doing, and also to adhere to regulatory requirements from around the world. Now, it's really back to this point that I want to lend my perspective and my feedback and start opening up some of the questions. Now, with every exchange that I've reviewed, whether on video or for my own personal use, I've found that transparency is very important. And the only mechanism of transparency is through the website, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Another mechanism of transparency is identifying and understanding and knowing the physical location of the exchange that you're working with. Now, it's really up to each individual person what their risk tolerance will be. in terms of some of these transparency questions. You have to make your own decisions. But I believe that this is also very important as you have a group that is very interested and seems very passionate to do what's right. Now, understanding the registered physical location of a company is important for many different reasons, especially when it comes to a financial company. Understanding their physical location, understanding it again, well, really, it supersedes just knowing that you can walk in the door and meet with somebody there, but it also becomes extremely, extremely important when you're dealing with the finances of others. I did watch the interview with Curtis and Crypto Eddie. I found it, was very interesting. One of the points that they brought up was keeping digital asset in cold storage, which brings up some more questions. Now, it has been alleged that the addresses that BiTrue is using in Taiwan and Singapore are virtual locations, they're virtual offices. And so I would really like to hear a little bit about that. I really think that that's important for everybody to know. I also heard, and it could be strictly conjecture and rumor, that BiTrue is actually a China-based company registered in China. Now, in my opinion, I believe it's critical, again, to know the physical address, the physical location, and there should be no reason why anybody should want to hide that information, and you should be proud of it regardless. Now, with transparency of location, getting to this other question on cold storage is, where is that cold storage kept, and is the cold storage being managed by a custodian? And so that would be, I think, a primary concern to know about, to understand, and to be able to highlight through a transparent means by listing that on the website, as you've seen with many of the other exchanges. Now, are they utilizing within their server base in order to secure client data? Do they have redundancy? Are they using external servers? Are they using a platform like AWS to secure and maintain this client data? Or is it kept on their own servers? I believe that's something that is important to understand, and it would be important for BiTrue to also clarify, as we want to try, look at the idea behind an exchange is really to embrace as many users as possible, and being able to show through a transparent means, again, answering some of these very, very valid questions. Now, when we look at some of the exchanges, think about Quadriga over in Canada, that the CEO carried really to his grave the only access to the exchange and everyone's investment, mainly because they did not maintain transparency. They were not utilizing a cold storage based on a custodian holding these digital asset. Now, one of the things that Crypto Eddie did bring up and they discussed was self-insurance, talking about a similarity to Binance's SAFU. And they did, and Curtis did mention some of their ideas to actually put it all in an address and to show the address. However, I want to look at this from a different approach, because this self-insurance means that they're putting a percentage into an account for a just-in-case scenario. Now, and again, this is just my opinion, my recommendation for full transparency. But I also believe this is something that would help really BiTrue grow and really help alleviate one of the biggest concerns over self-insurance, and that's, how do you know? How can you trust that they're self-insured? How do you trust that they're going to utilize the amount set aside for that just-in-case scenario? It's an open question. It's an open concern. Now, putting all of these funds aside, again, for self-insurance should be done in an escrow account. That escrow account should be managed by a custodian. That escrow account should also be audited by a third party, at least on a quarterly basis, if not a monthly basis. and utilizing or using a notable third-party auditor will really go a very long way to showing full transparency in action. That BiTrue is a stand-up company with the customer and the community at heart, not just making statements, not just verbalizing it, but actually doing and showing. Now, this third-party auditor can also be used to provide full clarity as to how BiTrue is registering or has registered and is maintaining regulatory compliance per country and per state as it pertains to the U.S. And I believe that's still another open question, open concern, that when you have when you have exchanges like a Binance that is pulled out, like a Coinfield that is not in the United States, and then you have groups like Bittrex that just announced pulling out of 30 markets for different reasons. Is BiTrue staying compliant and adhering to regulation? The third-party audit would definitely help alleviate some of those concerns. And I also believe by doing so also puts BiTrue into a class of its own by being, transparent to their clientele, but also being part of the community with their outreach mechanism. So I think that that's very, very important. So far, I haven't seen that. Providing full detailed information for full transparency, again, to show in detail how they're adhering to regulatory hurdles, hoops, and requirements. I really think this would give a lot of people peace of mind, and putting those digital assets into custody, very, very important. Now, I address regulatory requirements again. I just brought it up, but we've seen exchanges like Binance and Coinfield that are no longer operating in the U.S. I think that that's very, very important. Now, going back to the website, and this is kind of a final note, I could go a lot more in depth into all this. I wanted to keep it very succinct and to the point, but the website needs to be a mechanism of communication. It is the window into the company that you're dealing with. Again, this isn't just any company. This is a financial exchange, a digital asset exchange, holding and managing individuals' money. And so we need the transparency. We need to understand, and this is critical to be communicated through the website, the security mechanism, the physical location, the custodian that's utilized, server redundancy, the escrow account, the third-party audit, and the adherence to regulatory requirements. All of that needs to be bundled up and put on the website. Now, I really hope that the BiTrue team has an opportunity to review this video. I hope they can provide some clear feedback. If not in writing, then I would definitely, welcome them the opportunity to come here on the chain roundtable and discuss these questions in great more detail. Again, this is Jeff with the How to Review. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Remember to check out onthechain.io. Remember, we have On The Chain. We have On The Chain Live, 2 YouTube channels. We're also posting on Cinnamon. We're posting on Coil. And we're still working on the rollout for the podcast, which is imminent. We have some more big interviews with some big blockchain companies coming up. And again, that's it. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. And we'll see you then.